And as Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came, and seeing Peter warming himself, she looked at him and said, "You also were with the Nazarene Jesus." But he denied it, saying, "I neither know nor understand what you mean." And he went out into the gateway, and the rooster crowed. And the servant girls saw him and began again to say to the bystanders, "This man is one of them." But again he denied it. And after a little while, the bystanders again said to Peter, "Certainly you are one of them, for you are a Galilean." But he began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, "I do not know this man of whom you speak." And immediately the rooster crowed a second time. And Peter remembered how Jesus had said to him, "Before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times." And he broke down and wept. Good morning. This is Pastor Steve Mapp, and I am so delighted that you have taken time to join us again this morning on Monday, March the 22nd for our devotional. It's always a delight to have you with us. I'm so glad that you've tuned in. You know, the passage that I just read from Mark's Gospel, it comes to us from our Lenten series, The Marks of Love. And I hope that you're finding some time to enjoy that devotional series. You can find it on our website. I hope you're tuning in. And each day our devotionals are of course, dealing with those passages and have some comment for you. And this morning's passage, as we know, is really a sad story when we read it. It's about Peter's denial, and it's something that all 4 Gospels focus on, each of the 4. And you remember the story, Peter vehemently denied that he would deny the Lord. Just several verses before the passage that I read, he had told Jesus, when Jesus had again told the disciples that he was going to be given up, handed over, and crucified. And Peter said to him, "Lord, I will never deny you. Even though others may fall aside, I will not. Even to death, I will follow you." But Jesus knew, and Peter found out, just as we do, that despite our resolve, sometimes we cave in to our own selfishness, placing our interests first. But you know, the passage this morning, I think, tells us a good story. It is a story, in my mind, also of hope and encouragement. You see, the Gospels speak to the crow of the rooster. The crow of the rooster, it redirects Peter's consciousness. It awakens him to the contradiction in his relationship with Jesus. He had vowed loyalty, but he'd failed. But see, here's the beauty and the hope, I think, and the encouragement in this passage. Peter was reawakened by the rooster's crow to the truth that even with his failure of moral courage, God in Jesus, the Son, remains loyal in his pledge to forgive. Now, Mark doesn't speak to this, but John's Gospel certainly does. After the resurrection, Jesus meets the disciples on the beach by the sea, and there he meets Peter with the others, and 3 times he asks Peter, "Do you love me?" And of course, Peter says, "You know I love you, Lord." And Jesus says each time, "Feed my sheep, feed my lambs." And we know that those 3 questions from Jesus of, "Do you love me?" reversed the 3 denials that Peter had made. I think there's a real positive in this message this morning. See, in a way, I think that God plants into your life and into my life a rooster. I call it the conscience. We all have one. It's this internal alarm clock of the heart, I think, that, like the rooster, awakens us when we get caught in our own contradictions of self-interest versus what we know to be acceptable in God's sight. The rooster I call the conscience sounds to wake me in my failure. And at the same time, it's a reminder that I have a loving Savior that is ready to forgive a contrite heart. And we know that Peter had a contrite heart. He broke down and wept, and as we know, would go on to lead the new church. What a story, what a finish. And you know, this truth of Jesus forgiving a contrite heart, it's a gift beyond measure. The question for you and me, I think, is whether we hear the rooster. Peter sure did. And I know he's in there. He's in there. And I know he crows when he sees me in a contradictory situation. And I just pray that I will continue to hear the rooster's call. And I hope that you will too. You know, this passage awakens us to our humanity. It does. And there are times, despite our most sincere vows, we may fall away from that in the heat of the moment. But the beauty is that when we come to Christ with a contrite heart, He loves us, He forgives us, He welcomes us back, and He includes us in His plan of salvation. I love the passage this morning, even with its sadness, knowing that Peter would deny. It is a great reminder to us through the crow of the cock, the rooster, that our God is living inside of us. And He wants us to hear that call and come to Him. Hey, thanks so much for being a part of our devotion this morning. I so love to be with you, and I appreciate your tuning in. And I sure hope that you have a very safe day today, and may God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon.